All right, everybody, this is Michael Thomas with Florida Lead Slingers Outdoors. Today we're doing the part 2 video to our preparing for archery season video. In today's video, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. I am shooting the bow today and just kind of refining everything, but what I'm gonna do is something that I call practical shots. What I mean by practical shots is I'm gonna start taking a couple of trick shots or technical shots at my target down here. They're gonna be in the kneeling, I'm gonna be sitting down in a chair. I'm gonna get back up in the tree stand over there and take a few more shots like that. I have some oak tree patches over here in my dad's yard. I'm gonna be shooting through those. And the purpose of this is to practice the way that you're actually hunting, as I said in the other video. I also have my grunt tube and some binoculars, which I'm gonna shoot with I'm gonna have them hung around my neck, because if you think about it, that's how you are in the stand, right? You're actually up there, you got your grunt tube, your binoculars, you got some deer moving in, you got all this gear on you, so you want to practice the way that you're actually hunting. Standing flat-footed on the ground, shooting at a target that's just straight across from you at 20 yards out. It's gonna help you get familiarized with your bow, but it's not really gonna help you with your shooting. So you add all these little elements into your practice shots. That way when you get up there, it's a little less new and a little less awkward, and you're a little more familiarized with kind of how all these things, you know, are taking place when you're up there in that moment that you actually do see a deer. All right, so one of the next ones we're gonna do, or actually one of the first ones we're gonna do, I'm sorry, is we're gonna take a shot at the target from 20 yards in the kneeling. This is for if you're spot and stock hunting, you're hunting from the ground, stuff like that. This is kind of a shot that you wanna be practicing. Because again, you're not standing up when you're shooting from the ground, so why practice that way? Money. And that's why we do that. So one of the next things we'll do, we'll throw in a little additive. You've got your grunt tube. You're overlooking some kind of little field or some kind of opening out on some public land. You've got all this stuff around your neck. Practical practice, because this is how you're gonna hunt. It doesn't seem like it would make a difference, but in reality, it makes a big difference, because you've got this extra stuff. So that one was low and to the right. There we go. All right, and then if we got ground blind hunting, you're gonna be sitting in some kind of chair, or you might be kneeling in your blind. So you always wanna take some shots from the sitting position, because again, a lot of different muscles used when your points of contact is a chair and your 2 feet. Money. And that's why we practice that way, to get familiarized with it. All right, so this patch of oaks right here, where this old tree house is that my brother built back in the day, we're gonna be shooting right through this little opening right here with all of this brushy nonsense. Because again, that's a pretty realistic shot. You might be up in an oak tree, shooting down in through a little shooting lane past another tree. That's a shot that could definitely be taken, so you wanna practice for something like that. And for the realism of this one, I'm just gonna use my grunt tube. I'm gonna have my, Jesus, what is that? My rangefinder? I'm gonna have my rangefinder with me. I'm gonna real quickly range this target out. I think this is probably gonna be about 25 yards-ish. And I'm gonna stick it in my pocket. Just that way I got a little more bulk and a little more garbage in my way. Gives it a little more realism. Just at about 30 on this. Right at. All right, this one, just step back just a little bit, pops, just in case this thing ricochets off a tree or something. think that one drilled all the way through it. Shoot another one. Oh, that's good. Good view. Oh yeah. I'm slightly high, but still good. So you see how that kind of messes with your shooting a little bit? That first 30 yard, pretty sure I drilled it right through the tar. I just couldn't see it sticking out, so I have really no idea where it went through. There's a big opening down there, so I'm pretty sure that's bullseye. The second one I can clearly see, dead center of bullseye, good to go. But the third one, the branch that I was shooting through, it started kind of weaving back and forth with this wind. What ended up happening was I was focusing on that branch and I shot just slightly high. Still a good kill, dead deer. Have to track him about 45, 50 yards maybe, but that's a double lunger all day. And that's why you practice this way. So now that I've got some of these technical shots down and I'm super comfortable with how I'm shooting and the different ways of shooting and with the bow itself, all I'm gonna focus on from this point is probably shooting from about 20, 30 yards, and I'm really gonna focus on my form and just make sure that I'm pushing the bow forward, pulling the string back, taking my breaths, and then once I get good with that, I'm gonna do what I call quick shots. Quick shots are very simple, and it's something that I personally practice for. A quick shot is you have a deer walk through your shooting window. You've got maybe 3 seconds to shoot. So I draw really quick, I take a deep breath, and I let out the old famous map, and then I exhale. As soon as my exhale is completed, I shoot.
Can't do it without a glass of tea.
Okay, so in the middle of practicing, we're having conversations with Mom because this is going to be her first ever deer season. So I said, you know what? You guys already missed a couple of the questions, so we're gonna do a little Q&A with Mom right now as an intermission before we practice the show you guys what the quick shots are. So here you go, Dad. All right, Mom, so fire away. Okay. You've got questions, we've got answers.
So when can you hunt from a ground blind?
When hunting season begins.
At any time?
Anytime, it doesn't matter.
Bow,
You
general
can hunt from a
gun?
ground blind during small game season. You can hunt from one during turkey season. You can hunt from one during bow, muzzleloader, and rifle season if you want.
Okay, and so I've reached that golden age again, so I don't need to get a permit, correct?
You don't need a permit.
Unless it's a quota?
You're gonna need to talk to that man right there.
Unless it's a quota.
Unless it's a non-exempted management hunt or private land.
This is specifically in the state of Florida.
Okay.
Yes. So like the Goldie is open for us geezers with no exceptions. I mean, we can hunt there, Citrus, Chaslewitzka, Devil's Hammock, many places with no quota. But some are quotas, like Silver Springs, Four Creeks, some other ones. And you have to get a quota, and you apply, and they're for free.
Obviously, you can't hunt at bow season with anything but a bow, but it can be a crossbow, right?
That depends.
That depends.
On private land, yes.
In private land,
Management area, you have to have a special permit.
Okay, so do you have to have a special permit to even use a crossbow?
In management areas,
In
yes.
public land or called management areas, yes.
Okay.
But on private land, no.
No. Okay.
So if we want to take you up to the lease in Nassau, you can hunt with a bow or a crossbow.
Okay.
You allowed to use a gun during the muzzle hunt?
A muzzle hunt? Well, if it's a muzzle hunt, then that's only black powder, right?
That's correct. For a certain caliber that you have to use for muzzle hunt.
50 cal?
Or
I don't know.
45.
Or a 45.
So
What a-
45 caliber or above.
Or above.
Cannot use
Okay.
below.
I'm not a professional hunter. I'm probably low novice at best. But my best advice to anybody that's going to hunt private land, not private, public land
Read the
management area,
rules.
is to go to the FWC website and get a brochure,
Get a brochure.
and
And
read
read
it.
the rules.
There's quite a bit
Because-
of rules.
Because
Ignorance
not
of
every
the law.
management area is identical. All right, so now we're gonna practice what I call quick shots. Quick shots essentially are, like I mentioned earlier, you have a deer, a doe, a buck, whatever, a hog, doesn't matter. It's coming into your shooting window. They're coming in pretty hot and you need to stop them and you need to draw, shoot really quickly. So the best way to practice for that, I found, for me personally, is to have my bow ready with my arrow in it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that that target down there is a deer that's making its way into my shooting window. I'm going to draw back. As soon as I come to the full draw, I'm going to take a deep breath and exhale, and on that first exhale, that first part of the breath, I'm going to let out the old meh. And what that's going to simulate is, you know, there's a deer, here's the meh. It stops right in the window I want it to be in, and it's going to take a look to try to find out where it heard that from, and then I'm going to line up for that shot and take it as quickly as I possibly can. Now, it would sound kind of like you're rushing the shot, but you're not, because you're practicing for accuracy and you're practicing to get that deer stopped. And what you're also doing is inadvertently teaching yourself that repetitious map and your quick shooting ability. So it helps you shoot really fast, it helps you shoot accurately fast, and it also helps you get that deer stopped because you're just practicing that map. Now just remember, if you have a deer that's not quite in your shooting window, don't just pull back and go map and it stops somewhere out behind a tree limb. You don't want that, obviously. So we're gonna get started on it right now, and this is how I do my quick shots. Map. All right, so first shot, wide to the right. Not a good shot. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend that time frame to about 3 seconds. So I'm gonna give myself about 3 to 4 seconds, and I'm not gonna rush it too much, but it's still gonna be a pretty fast shot. Map. That one's low and to the left. So what you're doing is you're teaching yourself what your time frame is. That's too fast for me to stop the deer and get on target. Generally, I'd say in my experience, you get about a good 5 seconds for that deer to kind of go, I don't like what I heard, this doesn't seem right, and I'm gonna get on out of here. But if the deer isn't spooked by your map and it just keeps doing what it's doing, or if it's a buck caught on a doe, he's probably not gonna really pay too much attention to it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna extend this out to 5 seconds. Map. And that's about the same. 3 crappy shots in a row. So now we're gonna employ everything that we've been doing. The technical shots, the form, giving myself 5 seconds. Now we're gonna try to get back on target. Map. Bullseye. So that's how I do my quick shots. The first 3 to 4 shots should be how fast can I do it in, how accurately can I get the shots, and then after you determine I can't do it in this amount of time, I can't do it in that amount of time, or my form sucked, or whatever the case is, extend your time out. And then from that point on, from your 5 seconds, you can reduce that time to 4 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever's more comfortable for you. So let's do another one. We're gonna do 5 seconds.
Try not to grunt this time when you draw it back.
Well, I got a bad shoulder, which is why I'm packing the Elite Era, because it can accommodate all my draw
tape on your
and
shoulder.
weight needs. Map. That's a good one, but it's a little high and to the left for my taste.